Hello, Wildcats. It's Miss Baber, and I want you to know that I miss you so very much. Everyone at Wilson misses you. Today, I'm going to read to you one of my favorite stories. The true story of the three little pigs, as told by A.Wolf, told to John Scieszka, and illustrated by Lane Smith. So let's get started. Everybody knows the story of the three little pigs, or at least they think they do. But I'll let you in on a little secret. Nobody knows the real story, because nobody has ever heard my side of the story. I am the wolf, Alexander T. Wolf, but you can call me Al. I don't know how this whole big bad wolf thing got started, but it's all wrong. Look at that sweet little wolf. Maybe it's because of our diet. Hey, it's not my fault that wolves eat cute little animals like bunnies, sheep, and pigs. That's just the way we are. If cheeseburgers were cute, folks would probably think you were big and bad too. But like I was saying, the whole big bad wolf thing, it's all wrong. The real story is about a sneeze and a cup of sugar. So, this is the real story. So take a listen. Way back and once upon a time, I was making a birthday cake for my dear old granny. I had a terrible sneezing cold. I ran out of sugar. So I walked down the street to ask my neighbor for a cup of sugar. Now, this neighbor was a pig. And he wasn't too bright either. He had built his whole house of straw. Can you believe it? I mean, who in his right mind will build his house of straw? So, of course, the minute I knocked on the door, I fell right in. I didn't want to just walk into someone's house. No, so I called, "Little pig, little pig." No answer. I was just about to go home without my cup of sugar for my dear old granny's birthday cake. That's when my nose started to itch. I felt a sneeze coming on. Well, I huffed and I snuffed. And you know what happened next? Achoo! I sneezed. A great sneeze. And you know what? The whole darn straw house, it fell down. And right in the middle of the pile of straw was the first little pig, dead as a doornail. He had been home the whole time. And it seemed like such a shame to leave a perfectly good ham dinner laying there in the straw. So I ate it up. Just think of it as a big cheeseburger just laying there. I was feeling a little better, but I still didn't have my cup of sugar. So I went to the neighbor's house. This neighbor was the first little pig's brother. He was a little smarter, but not much. He had built his house of sticks. I rang the bell on the stick house. Nobody answered. I called, "Mr. Pig, Mr. Pig, are you in? He yelled back, "Go away, Wolf. You can't come in. I'm shaving the hairs on my chinny chin. I had just grabbed the doorknob when I felt another sneeze coming on. I huffed and I snuffed. And I tried to cover my mouth, but I sneezed. Choo! A great sneeze. And you're not going to believe this, but the guy's house fell down, just like his brother's. When the dust cleared, there was a second little pig, dead as a doornail. Wolf's honor. Now, you know food will spoil if you just leave it sitting, just leave it out in the open. So I didn't. I did the only thing there was to do. I had dinner again. Think of it as a second helping. I was getting awfully full, but my cold was feeling a little better. And I still didn't have that cup of sugar for my dear old granny's birthday cake. I still didn't. So I went to the next house. This guy's house was the first and the second pig's brothers. He must have been the brains of the family. He had built his house of bricks. I knocked on the brick house. No answer. I called, "Mr. Pig, Mr. Pig, are you in?" And do you know what the rude little porker answered? "Get out of here, Wolf. Don't bother me again." Talk about impolite. He probably had a whole sack full of sugar, and he wouldn't even give me one little cup for my dear old granny's birthday cake. What a pig. I was just about to go home and maybe make a nice birthday card instead of a cake. But then I felt my cold coming on, and I huffed, and I snuffed, and I sneezed once again. Achoo! Then the third little pig, that pig, he yelled, "And your old granny can sit on a pen." Now, I'm usually a pretty calm fellow, but when somebody talks about my granny like that, I go a little crazy. So when the cops drove up, of course, I was trying to break down the pig's door. And the whole time I was huffing and puffing and sneezing and making a real scene. The rest, as they say, is history. The news reporters found out about the two pigs I had for dinner. They figured a sick guy going burn a cup of sugar didn't sound very exciting. So they jazzed up the story with all that huff and puff and blow your house down. And they made me the big bad wolf. That's it. That's the real story. I was framed. But maybe you could loan me a cup of sugar. Now that is the end of the true story of the three little pigs.